Alright guys, so in the last video I showed you kind of how I made the housing, and I cut up the factory Ferrari headlight, and then I made the lens. I didn't really show you too much on the lens, but what I did was I made a fiberglass plug that was basically a filler for the whole of the headlight in the fender. And then underneath it, while I laid the fiberglass in, I did some body work, I primered it, sent it out to a plastic shop where they could vacuum form the lens. Now some guys might want to vacuum form the lens yourself. Me personally, I'm just not a vacuum form expert, and I know they can do a much cleaner job, which means a much smoother surface. Although the plug is really important, it needs to be very solid and very smooth. Any imperfections, it's going to show. If it's not solid, it's going to flex, and then your lens is not going to be right. So anyway, as you can see, I put the headlight inside, and then you got the headlight. This is what they vacuum formed over it, and I cut with a cutoff wheel. I cut off around here, and then I block wet sanded the inside and the outside. Usually I'll do like 1,000 grit, then 15, then 2,500. And then you want to take, this is a 3M rubbing compound. It's made for a high speed buffer, and you have to buff this out. And then you do a number 2, which is the polish, and that takes a while, and it takes patience and practice. If you catch an edge, you can break the lens, or you can throw it flying off the table. So this takes some practice, but you'll basically get a nice, clean formed, rounded, factory looking lens. Now you can get it in polycarbonate, or this is acrylic with a UV protectant, so it shouldn't discolor from the sun, and it'll hold up to the heat that the sun puts off. And then you got, this is the top piece that was sitting inside that I molded. And what happens is you're going to put the lens onto this top piece, and this is like a flange. Eventually what you're going to do is tape off the inside of your lens with masking tape, and you're going to put a bead of black goop, which is urethane, windshield urethane. And you're going to go all the way around it, and as soon as you have it in there, you're going to tape this lens in place and hold it there. Then you're going to flip it over. You're going to remove that masking tape, which will give you a nice clean line, so you don't have any gasket sealant showing through to the headlight. You're going to let that sit, and then once that's all done and it's dried for, should be a few hours, but I'd leave it overnight. Before I do that, I would finish up that opening there that still needs to be done. I also still need to cut the back out of this, because that's going to allow me access to the factory headlight to replace bulbs, ballasts, and get the headlight adjustments and the wiring harness, which I'm going to show you probably in the next video or two, how I make the wiring harness and figure out how to make these lights work if you don't have a wiring diagram. Some cars are really hard to get the diagram, yeah, so that's pretty much it. And I've started on the second one. I got the top laid up, and the lens is buffed out, it's ready to go. So I'll set my headlight housing in there upside down, and do the top just like I did the other side. Once those are done, probably the next day or so, I'll get around to cutting out the back, making sure everything's good, that it's seated and sealed. That's really important. You got to make sure that these things are completely sealed up. And then once they're all done and they're sealed up and you've got them ready to go, you want to make tabs or some sort of mounting system that will allow you to do that, to put the headlights up to the fender, or attach them to the body if you have a frame there in front of the wheel. On this particular car, there's not. The frame is inside the front clip, so I'm going to attach the headlights to the front clip, and they're going to be plug-in harness, so they'll be removable. So I hope that helped a little, and I will be doing more videos real soon. I'm going to be doing the tail lights, but once the front clip's on, I'm going to go ahead and get the radiator and the AC condenser and all this stuff done, so that I can get the actual bodywork going, because I want to get this thing done. I'm super excited to finish this car. And if you guys have any questions, you build your own headlights, or you got any questions on building, just shoot me a comment, and if you would, subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Have a great day. Hey guys, one more thing. I didn't mention it in the last video, But when we make body parts, I generally stick to vinyl ester resin. That's the best stuff for cars in my opinion. It doesn't shrink, it doesn't warp and get wavy over time like other stuff does, which means you're gonna have to block it out and repaint it. It's gonna look not so good in a couple years. However, when you're making things like brackets and headlights and things that you're not gonna see ever again, and if they get a little bit warped or shrink, that's fine. You can use, see, this here is vinyl ester resin, and it's a lot more expensive. It's probably 2 to 2.5 times as expensive as regular, cheap, just fiberglass resin. And this stuff right here is actually from Walmart. You can buy this in a kit that comes with some fiberglass cloth and the resin and the hardener, and you can get that for about 15 bucks. Probably 2 of those would be enough to make those headlights that I'm making on the front. So something to think about. If you got a project you want to make something pretty quick and easy, you know, Walmart's a great spot to go pick it up and just start doing it. Just to try fiberglass. And if you have any questions on how to do it, just shoot me a message. Thanks, guys.